tonight. I'm Chris Ensing. Thanks for joining us. A parking lot in East Windsor shut off for several hours this afternoon. Police and fire crews investigated what they thought were hazardous materials. Things have calmed down now, but earlier many were walking up to see what's going on. Jacob Barker live at the scene. Jacob, what are police saying right now?
Well, police are saying there is no threat to the public at this time, but earlier things looked quite concerning in this Canadian Tire parking lot, and all of the interest was focused on this black Chevy.
It was just a hazardous material contained within the vehicle, and just an abundance of caution, we blocked off the area to make sure nobody came within reach of the vehicle, to make sure everybody was safe.
Now, we don't know what that material is. Police say they are testing to find out, but things were deemed safe here around 4 p.m. and the presence here has been greatly reduced. We do know that multiple units were brought in, including the explosive disposal unit. It can provide a response to incidents involving chemicals. We also do know that several officers, were decontaminated at the scene, and 3 officers were taken to hospital out of an abundance of caution because they were exposed to the material that was in the vehicle, and we are told that they're all okay. As far as who owns the car, police say that they know that, but when asked if any civilians were involved in the incident, we were told that it's under investigation and that nobody is in custody. Now, there is no threat to the public, but police are asking people to avoid this area of the city right now. And as far as everything else, the investigation is still ongoing. Chris.
Thanks, Jacob. CBC's Jacob Barker live tonight. And people in Tilbury pushing against the decision to move its only long-term care home. The company plans to relocate the 75-bed facility to a new spot in Bell River. With it comes 85 more spaces, but a local advocacy group's calling on the provincial government to turn that application down. CBC's Jen LaGrassa joins us live with more. Jen, what are people saying about this?
Chris, a local advocacy group told me that they are sad and frustrated by this proposal. ARC Corporation, which owns Tilbury Manor, is requesting the provincial government allow them to close their current location and move the home about a 25-minute drive away. Locals tell me that they didn't know about the proposal until May. But a spokesperson with ARCH says the government publicly announced the new beds at the end of last year. The move would mean a long commute for loved ones and volunteers, and after pandemic restrictions, having them further away would be another hardship.
To further pursue a solution that would allow this isolation to be more long-term for them, to us was just cruel and actually an abusive policy to put into place, as well as taking a great nursing home from a community and leaving it without one.
But as far as the residents, when they get in and settle down, that becomes their home, and they're used to it. So they have friends, they're elderly, and they have elderly friends that can walk to visit them. The relatives can visit them. A lot of people don't have cars at that age. It's a community within the community, if you understand that.
Cottingham, whose own father and mother-in-law lived in the home, told me the move will be a challenge for those who usually go 3 times a day to feed loved ones, or for those who can't find the transportation. The change of scenery, she says, will be hard for residents with Alzheimer's.
Jen, why does the company want to make this move?
Well, Chris, a corporate affairs person for the company told me that the move is necessary. Their license at Tilbury Manor expires in 4 years. In order to be eligible for renewal, they say the home would have to make significant renovations that would require residents to move out. I told the spokesperson about the concerns I was hearing, and here was their response.
I certainly understand where that's coming from and everything. I don't know how I can respond. There's a demand across the province for long-term bed facilities, and there's a push on to build them and to make them as current and as efficient as possible for the residents that are there. In some situations, it will be an inconvenience. There's no question about that. But that was all part of our application. Was it made sense to build this larger modern home in this area.
The company says it told families that residents will not be forced to move to the new location and that it will provide consultations to offer other options. But Demers told me that the only option would be having them going to Chatham. The government did perform community consultations and gave locals until July 4th to submit a letter with their feedback. Arch Corporation says it's already purchased the land in Belle River. It's still waiting on a response to its application and is unsure when it will hear back. If approved, the company says the move should be done by mid-2024. Chris.
Thanks, Jen. CBC's Jen Lagrasso live tonight. There are hundreds of vaccine doses available at a walk-up, pop-up clinic in downtown Windsor today. Another focused effort to pump up vaccination numbers in the N9A postal code. But the effort also had another aim, getting young people a shot in the arm.
No one gets sick of being home, but I do.
Jabril Elnor is over this pandemic, so he's doing something about it. 12 years old and now fully vaccinated.
I'm most excited for to see my friends, go to school.
His dose helps improve a statistical snapshot that the health unit's concerned about.
It is a bit surprising because we did see a huge uptick in the vaccination for the adults.
Today, half of people 12 to 17 have a first dose, 14% fully vaccinated, both well below the coverage rate for adults. Timing is everything.
If we are not getting that population vaccinated at this time, we are putting them at a disadvantage when the school open.
A repeat of pandemic schooling, not something kids want to see again.
That was not so great. I felt like I was trapped in a little box, you know? I felt like all I could do is just go on my computer and nothing else.
Do you have any other friends who have gotten that vaccine, or other people in your school or your classes that have gotten that shot?
Yeah, I have a few friends.
And what was it like when do you talk to them about getting vaccinated? Is it a conversation you guys are having?
Yeah. We're like talking about having like play dates, like going to each other's houses, having sleepovers, that stuff. And I feel happy to have that opportunity back. That felt great. I feel free now.
Health officials see July and August as a big opportunity to get doses into younger arms.
Actively planning with the health unit and community partners for more youth pop-ups. It is our mission for the summer to get the community through this.
Community centers, medical clinics. I know there's some school gyms on the horizon.
This model preferred by people today.
It's really nicer than the actual hospital kind of feeling. This is not that kind of feeling. It feels better.
Why this spot today?
We just found out that you don't need to book it online because we just came here today because it was more simple and took less time than usual.
What do you think it would take to get more people your age to come to a place like this, to come to a pop-up clinic?
Mainly like if you get the vaccine, maybe like a small reward. Or if you don't get it, you can't enter some stores or something like that.
A prick here gets you a pack of tidbits and the simple satisfaction of doing your part.
What this means is like we're starting new, right? We're trying to make the world a better place by having this needle.
Almost 24 hours after water was restored to the River Place residents, pipes have been vandalized and turned off yet again. Now city staff are going door to door speaking with residents about possible relocation options.
Some of the tenants are, would like to leave. Some of the people were not interested in leaving. They prefer to stay there. They don't want social services to assist them. So it's, a couple of different perspectives. It's what came out of that.
The city says just yesterday residents were given information on emergency shelters. Officials add they're continuing to work with the owner to address the ongoing problems at River Place. That's where about 25 people from the former Tent City Ravine were moved. On Thursday, the city issued an unsafe building notice because the fire alarms were not functioning and water had been stopped. On Friday, the water was restored before being damaged again on Saturday. The owner says he's unsure what options he has left since vandalism keeps happening over and over again. A new apartment complex in Walkerville, now one step closer to reality. The city's planning committee approving a rezoning request. Dale Molnar now on how a burnt-out heritage building could help revitalize the Ottawa Street area.
On September 20th, 2018, the industrial building at 1370 Argyle Road was devastated by fire. In its heyday, it housed a cutting-edge pharmaceutical company. All that remains today is the shell of the original part of the building, built in 1944. That part is a heritage building, and the plan is to make it the centerpiece of a much larger 81-unit apartment complex.
We're actually putting residential units inside the heritage building, so it's going to be like an adaptive reuse of the building. So because of that, some of the structure from the inside of that doesn't fit the new residences will be taken out.
He's the planner hired by owners Pierre and Yves Poirier. Bézère says they have managed to qualify for about $500,000 in brownfield redevelopment money for the project. Councillor Chris Holt is excited about what the project will inject into the Ottawa Street business area.
It's an exciting thing for the neighborhood. You know, more people, more feet on the street brings more amenities and more, restaurants and that type of thing. So it's a wonderful addition to the neighborhood.
People living near the eyesore say it has been the target of vandals. Neighbor Stephen Rahab is glad to see the project coming forward.
Well, I think it'll be great because the Walkerville area, like a lot of people want to move here, but there's nowhere to live. And obviously right behind me, it's tough to look at every day living across the street from it.
The owners of this project were also the developers of the loft condominiums at Market Square. Some of the parking will be shared with that property. City Council still has to approve the rezoning. It goes before Council on Monday, and if approved, the apartments could be finished by next spring. Dale Molnar, CBC News, Windsor.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has expressed sorrow over another tragic discovery near a former residential school.
My heart breaks for the Penelakut tribe and for all Indigenous communities across Canada. I recognize these findings only deepen the pain that families, survivors, and all Indigenous peoples and communities are already feeling. To members of the Penelakut tribe, we are here for you. We cannot bring back those who were lost, but we can and we will continue to tell the truth.
Yesterday, the Penelakut tribe in southern interior BC said it found more than 160 unmarked graves. The Cure Island Residential School operated from 1890 to the 1970s. Now, it follows other similar recent findings linked to former schools in BC and Saskatchewan. A 24-hour national crisis line is available for former students and survivors affected by the reports. The number, 1-866-925-4419. The RCMP confirms that at least 4 people have died after Monday's crane collapse in downtown Kelowna, BC.
Unfortunately, 4 individuals, all male adults, were located at the scene and had died as a result of the injuries from the crane having collapsed.
One of the workers killed was believed to have been the crane's operator. Police also say a 5th man buried in the rubble of a nearby office is presumed dead. When the crane toppled, it fell onto the next door building as well as a nearby senior's home. Emergency crews, they say the area remains unstable at the construction site of a 25-story residential tower. Police have set up a 4-block perimeter amid ongoing investigation into what actually caused it. A local state of emergency is in place. Several addresses have received evacuation orders. There's new data that shows Ottawa has nearly doubled the number of rejections from migrant workers trying to stay in Canada on humanitarian and compassionate grounds since the start of the pandemic. The numbers were disclosed by Immigration Canada after an opposition MP raised questions. But as Rafi Boujikana reports, there's little official explanation.
J'ai toute une douleur. Je marche avec des douleurs fortes.
Mamadou Bachuli walks only with a lot of pain. The economic migrant had his legs crushed by heavy machinery during a work accident in Montreal in 2018. Then his attempt to stay here on humanitarian and compassionate grounds was rejected.
Ça m'a complètement bouleversé. Je me disais que c'était le seul espoir.
It was his only hope, he says. Bacheli is stuck in limbo here. His application on humanitarian and compassionate grounds rejected. Deportation to Mali, where he moved from, currently impossible as that country is currently on a list of places Canada doesn't send people to due to safety risks. Numbers released by Immigration Canada show the rejection rate for applicants on humanitarian and compassionate grounds has nearly doubled from 2016 to when the pandemic started last year.
These numbers are absolutely shocking.
Jenny Kwan is the NDP MP whose questions led to the release of the data.
The application process is often an opaque system and is discretionary. we actually don't really have a whole lot of information on the rejections. What the numbers are telling us is that there is something wrong with this system.
Ottawa did start some new pathways to permanent residency programs recently, but this advocacy group says it won't help those who were rejected.
And while we hope that there's a boost in other streams, unfortunately, most of those streams are inaccessible to migrant, particularly to non-status and undocumented people.
The Immigration Department did not return a request for comment. Rafi Bujikanian, CBC News, Ottawa.
Take another look outside here where that severe thunderstorm watch still in effect for Windsor. Nick Sirkovich joining us next to give us the details on what we're looking at and how long that's going to stick around for.
W.
Well, you know what they say, the show must go on. And today it will for Canada's Stratford Festival. Relaxing restrictions in the region mean live theatre is back, but there's some new protocols in place. It will take place outdoors under a big tent, harkening back to its very first show, coincidentally, 68 years ago to the day. The festival is officially launching its season after nearly 16 months without performances. And Nick Sirkovich rumbles his way into here. There's some outside now. That severe thunderstorm watch still kicking around, but you were talking about those severe, those isolated storms, and I think we're feeling it.
Yeah, we certainly are, Chris. Right now what we're looking at is basically just a bunch of thunderstorms across southern Ontario. We've got severe thunderstorm watches right across southern Ontario. In southwestern Ontario, certainly in the mix. When we talk about the weather, there is a look at the big picture. Again, not one big storm system, but a bunch of cells that are moving across. Some of them more organized than others. We zoom in here a little bit. Just north of Sarnia, pushing toward Goderich, we're looking at a line of thunderstorms. We've got one down around Leamington as well. And Windsor picking up some thunderstorms at the moment. We've got severe thunderstorm watches, and now in the last few minutes, warnings in effect along the shorelines from Sarnia to Goderich, and that's for that thunderstorm that I had mentioned that's just kind of pushing its way through. So again, severe thunderstorm watches and warnings in effect. As we head through the evening hours, you can expect that to continue, slowly dissipating though through the overnight, but still through the evening and into at least the early overnight period. Look for thunderstorms to continue across the region. The slight chance we're going to see an isolated pop-up storm tomorrow, but for the most part, it's going to be a mix of sun and cloud for the afternoon tomorrow. Carries through till Thursday morning as well. And then into the evening, we've got this sort of draping front that's going to move through. That'll bring some relief for Friday, but as it sweeps across sort of late Thursday into Friday morning, look for showers, likely some thunderstorms in there as well, and that continues till Friday morning. So a bit of a mixed bag there. 23 degrees right now in Windsor. These temperatures popping up and down really just because of the thunderstorm activity. When you're not seeing them, they're up around the mid to high 20s. When you see a thunderstorm roll through, you get temperatures dropping a bit. 31 with the humidex at the moment, although it was higher earlier on. 20 degrees tonight is what you can expect. Again, with those showers and thunderstorms, 29 for tomorrow, humidex of 35. About a 30% chance we're going to see some isolated cells tomorrow. Then Thursday, mainly cloudy skies, 30, humidex taking us again to 35. Thursday through Friday, that line of showers and thunderstorms tapers off on Friday. Bit of a relief on Friday as well, by the way. We dropped that humidity in the wake of the front.
When you talk about relief, it was interesting. I was at that pop-up clinic today for vaccines, and they talking about tan lines. Laura had showed me that when she took off her mask, it looked like she had been out in the sun all day, and then the part where she was covered up had those tan lines.
The tan lines there, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Thankful for the cloud cover today, Nick. So, you know,
yes,
it's not all bad when the sun ain't shining.
Well, her and many of us, I'm sure, right? You know, yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks for this, Nick.
All right.
A BC man's model ships, well, he's turned it into a museum, so of course we're going to take a look at that. That'll be after the break. An Ontario playground is absolutely glowing after a makeover from the community. Now, all of the equipment had been vandalized with hateful messages last week. Residents wanted not only to repaint, but they wanted to fight back. So they put out the word on social media for a community paint session. Local paint stores donated supplies, got a crew to cover everything with a base coat of blue. And the next day, people from near and far showed up to paint messages of love and support. So many volunteers, it took just an hour and a half to repaint the entire park.
To realize now that we have a community of people that are willing to rise up and stand up against hatred is just the most incredible thing.
There is no place for hate in Collingwood, and my community proved it. They loved, bombed the heck out of it, and it was something to see. I'm just so proud of this town. I've just never been prouder of this town.
Now, the makeover comes at a perfect time. The Collingwood Pride Festival is set for this weekend. Meanwhile, local police, they're investigating the vandalism. Organizers of the paint session say they hope the way their community rallied together can be an example for others. A BC man's passion for model ships has turned into a museum on the other side of the country. The ships were put into storage after the man died, but a conversation between one of his friends and a Newfoundland resident, well, it changed everything. Jeremy Eaton has the story.
In Marystown, boat building is in the blood. The industry dates back generations. Now there's newfound hope that a gallery will further anchor that reputation.
To the best of our knowledge, this is the only model ship gallery in Canada, and therefore it makes it the only model ship gallery in Newfoundland and Labrador. So we're really proud of it.
Mayor Sam Synyard shows off the close to 90 model ships. Some, like the HMS Hood, are worth as much as $250,000. But the entire collection didn't set the town back.
It was given to us outright, no strings attached. Mr. King's collection alone was valued at $1.5 million, and we've added to it since that time.
BC-based architect John Keith King had a passion for model ships as well as model trains and salmon fishing. He amassed this collection, impeccably preserved models of real vessels from tugboats to warships before it all ended up in storage. The Marystown Model Ship Gallery is open to the public, but much like the hands that built these boats, it's been a long, laborious process. The ships were crated up and sent from Victoria, BC to Marystown. It took volunteers like Art Walsh plenty of time and a delicate touch to get the boats gallery ready.
I would say they went through probably 1,000 Q-tips. Everything is done meticulously and cleaned with light detergents. They don't want to do anything to damage the woods.
The Keith King family also donated art, which hangs in the gallery. It also features work by local artists. As word spread about the model gallery, more boats began to float in.
Fast forward to another decade or so, when you walk in here, you'll probably see replicas of every ship ever built in Marystown.
I think the most exciting thing we have about the gallery is the fact that we're going to build a history of shipbuilding in Marystown. I don't think people realize how big the history is here.
There's no departure date in sight for this massive collection, which is great news for the family who donated it. A spokesperson says the family is over the moon that Keith King's boats are once again being appreciated by a community that understands the beauty of boat building. Jeremy Eaton, CBC News, Marystown.
The passion and the history out there unmatched for boats. That's it for us here at CBC Windsor. Thanks for watching the Rick Mercer Report. It's up next. Have a good night.